Next year, I'll be filming this video, hopefully with a glass of wine or a glass of Prosecco or something fun. But you guys, 34 weeks pregnant. We are almost there. We are almost to the finish line. Hello, beautiful friends and book lovers. I hope that you're all doing well. If you're new here, my name is Heather, and here at Heather's Book Review, I love to mainly read and review mysteries and thrillers, but I will read just whatever I am feeling. And this is my favorite video to film all year. I feel like I read all year to film this video because I'm trying to find the best books for myself, the best books for you guys. So it's always so exciting to just go through all of the books that I've read in the year and just pick the top 10 best ones. All right, wanted to fix the angle there a little bit. But yes, guys, we are a couple weeks out from becoming a family of 5. If you're new here, we do have one son, but I also include our dog in that family count. So we are almost a family of 5. I am so excited. I feel like I've been pregnant forever. I don't know why. This pregnancy has felt much longer than my first one, but maybe it's just because I've been through it already. So I kind of know, you know what I mean? Whereas the first one, you're kind of just riding it out. You're learning everything for the first time. So guys, I'm excited. Before I get talking about my top 10 best books of 2023, I did want to say that every book mentioned, there will be a physical or a link to the physical copy of the book and then also an audio link. You guys know I love to listen to books. I would say, so I read 54 books this year per Goodreads. Sometimes there's the occasional book that I forget to put on Goodreads, but I feel like I was better about that this year because I tried to post my Goodread reviews with the link to my YouTube wrap-up videos. So anytime I filmed that and posted it to YouTube, I would update my Goodreads review, if that makes sense. I feel like I've been better about Goodreads reviews more so this year than I have in past years. But yeah, per Goodreads, I read/listened to 54 books. My goal was 50, so I just made it, and yeah, I was feeling really good. But yeah, I would say probably half of those books were all audio. So a couple of months ago, I switched my membership from Amazon Audible to Libro FM. Libro FM, first off, if you join an account with them, I was looking at their website earlier, and they have a code that's choose indie, all in caps. I'll type it here. But if you sign up for an audiobook subscription through them, with that code, you get a free audiobook, which is awesome. So, but yeah, I just switched over from Amazon Audible because I felt like it was expensive. And a lot of the books that I do listen to are courtesy from publishers through Libro FM. So I feel like I use that app more than I was using Amazon Audible. So all of the audio links will be to Libro FM, but it's a super easy app. They actually have a cool story too. They support local independent bookstores with the money that you guys use to purchase audiobooks through them, which I think is awesome. So yeah, if you click on any of those links, make sure that you put in the code choose indie because then you get a free audiobook. And then lastly, all of these books behind me with the squares are book of the month books. So a lot of my books sitting here that I'm mentioning today are from Book of the Month. So if you're unfamiliar with Book of the Month, it is a book buying subscription where for $15.99 a month, you get to choose a hardcover book that they're promoting from their choices. They usually have anywhere from 5 to 7 choices, typically different genres. Sometimes they'll double up on 2 historical fiction or 2 thrillers, but there's usually a good variety. I've been a member for years, as you can see with all of these books behind me, and I love it. I also love that you can choose add-ons for $10. So you can get 3 hardcover books for $35 a month. And if you don't use your credit for that month, it just rolls over and they don't charge you, which I love because there was quite a lot of months this year where I just didn't like the choices, so I didn't pick a book, but then you're not charged, which is great. So yeah, if you're interested through Book of the Month, I will leave my referral link down below, and I would love if you could go through me because then I get a free book credit, which is sweet. All right, but now we are going to jump into my top 10 books of 2023. So looking at the breakdown, we have 7 thrillers, 1 historical fiction, 1 fantasy, and 1 romance. I will be making my way from number 10 all the way to my top book, which gets that numero uno spot. But yeah, so let's just go ahead and get started. Coming in at number 10, this book, let me grab it here, needs absolutely no introduction, but I'm going to give one anyways. And that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This is the one fantasy book that I just mentioned. It is a fantasy series that absolutely just like blew up on Book Talk, on Instagram, just on the internet in general. Like everybody was like, Fourth Wing, read it, Fourth Wing, oh my gosh. And it's good. It's really, really good. The series is about a young girl named Violet who attends a school for dragon training. And there are other factors at the school, but that is primarily the focus of this book. It is a fantasy book, so you are set in a fantasy world. And the story really is just about her journey in the school, the friends she makes, the romance that she gets into. And yeah, it's highly, highly, highly about dragons. It's cool. It's epic. It's worth the hype. I loved it. And honestly, it really has kept my love and energy for like fantasy series. I will say, besides Harry Potter, my favorite fantasy series is A Court of Thorns and Roses, but Sarah J. Maas has not come out with the, I think, 5th installment in that series. And like, I don't know, we have to be going on 3 years now because I was pregnant with my son, who is now over 2.5, when I read the last installment in that series. So then I read Crescent City, which I was like, eh. But now I'm reading the second book in Crescent City, which is House of Sky and Breath. I'm about 1/4 of the way in. It just doesn't like do it for me. But I heard that like the series kind of come together. So whatever. I'm trying to like stay into it. The third book, House of Flame and Shadow, I think, comes out end of January. But yeah, I just really want her to finish or continue with the Court of Thorns and Roses series. But in the meantime, I was invested in Fourth Wing. It was really good. I gave this book 5 stars. I only gave 3.5 stars to the sequel, Iron Flame, just because I felt like it was rather long. I felt like there was a lot of unnecessary like arguments and bickering, and the characters just seemed like immature to me. But this is a top 10 video, so I digress. This first one though is awesome. This next book, number 9, is an action-packed thriller that I feel did not get the hype it deserved on the internet. Like the complete drastic opposite of Fourth Wing. I feel like I like barely heard about this book. And that is The Last One by Will Dean. I listened to this courtesy of Simon & Schuster Audio. Thank you so much, Simon & Schuster, because it ended up making my top 10. I'm just going to be glancing at my notes here. But yeah, I just feel like it didn't really get a lot of hype, and it's a super, super unique thriller. So this thriller is about a woman who boards a cruise ship with her boyfriend. They're having fun. They're like newly dating. And she wakes up the next day and he's gone along with everybody else on the cruise ship, which is like, it's insane. You're like, where the heck did everybody go? Why is she by herself? You are on the edge of your seat this entire thriller. And it truthfully is a book that I still think about all the time. And I know that that's why it's on my top 10. Like, it's just so good. It's so unique. I've never read another like action thriller like this before. And I really recommend it if you're looking for just a thriller that's not going to be like anything else that you're going to read in a long time. I feel like so much of our thrillers are like domestic thrillers, you know, where there's stuff going on with like marriages and friendships and things. This is like the complete opposite of that. And it was just a breath of fresh air. Coming in at number 8 is a book that did have a ton of hype, and it was definitely one of the Bookstagram made me do it, get it, whatever books. And that is Look Closer by David Ellis. I feel like in the beginning of the year, I saw everybody reading this book, and it was like 4 or 5-star reviews everywhere. And I was like, okay, I gotta get it. And it's good. So this book centers on a totally normal from the outside appearance couple from Chicago. But then this woman ends up getting murdered in a mansion like near where this couple lives. And then the spotlight is put on this couple, like, is one of them a killer? Who knows? And that's really all I'm gonna say. Like, this book has so many twists and turns, probably more than any other thriller that I'm gonna mention in this video. Like, it is just, oh my gosh. And I listened to it. This was before I canceled my Amazon Audible membership. I listened to this book and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so invested. I could not stop listening to it. It is amazing. Coming in at number 7 is my romance that I mentioned. It is no surprise. You guys know I love, love, love Allie Hazelwood. Like, her books just make me happy. They truthfully just make me like so happy. This story is about a woman named Bee and a man named Levi, and they're both scientists. They knew each other like briefly at school, but Bee is convinced that Levi hates her, and then they have to flash forward many years. Now they're like co-leading on this project together in their adult life, in their careers, and it's just so good. Like, it's cute, it's steamy, and it's funny. Like, it's just a book that puts you in a good mood, and I just loved it. I loved it so much. Like, this is a hard 5-star for me. Like, her books will just make you happy, and I love reading like a romance or a fantasy or just another type of genre in between all of the thrillers that I read, because it's just such a nice like reprieve. But her books are the best. Like, they're just, they're so good. Coming in at number 6 was such a pleasant surprise, and it's actually a book that I just finished like 2 days ago. This is another courtesy of Simon & Schuster Audio. Thank you so much, Simon & Schuster, for introducing me to my number 6, which is The Other Mothers, written by Catherine Faulkner. This is a thriller, and it's definitely a domestic thriller. I did not read Greenwich Park, which was another book written by this author. I don't know if she only has 2. I'm not sure, but this is definitely my first book from this author. And this book is about a young nanny named Sophie, who you find out early in the book gets murdered. And our main character, Tosh, she's like a freelance journalist, and she's trying to find out what actually happened to Sophie. And she sort of weasels her way into this like elite group of moms that is like the group that Sophie kind of like nannied for. Like, she nannied for one of the women in the group, but like she knew all the women in the group because they were always together and she was there. This book has so much drama. The drama in it and the twists at the end, it is like a very close second to Look Closer with like the amount of twists in this book. Like, it's truthfully, it's so good. My only gripe, super teeny tiny small gripe with this book, is that it does have a lot of characters so early on, because you're meeting all the moms in the group and you're meeting the husbands of the group. And like, so it's a lot going on, and it was audio for me. So like it felt a little overwhelming at first, but like don't let that deter you from reading it because it's so good. Like it's worth it. So many twists. And like I really was engaged the whole book. I was not bored at all. And it wasn't a quick audiobook. And you guys know, like I listen to my books on like 1.4, 1.5 speed. Like I'm not trying to sit here at 1.1. Like nobody got time for that. But still, it took me like at least 11 hours to get through. So good. Was not bored at all. Highly, highly, highly recommend this new thriller. Guys, getting into the top 5. What the heck? What the heck? This book, number 5, needs no introduction. But like I said, I'm going to give it one anyways. It's another thriller, and that is Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. This is one that I got as an add-on from Book of the Month, and then it sat on this TBR shelf here for like 2 years. Because I was like, I know it's going to be a banger. Like, I know it's going to be good because, like, she's a master of her craft, right? Oh my gosh. It's insane. If you don't know what this book is about, we follow our main character named Libby Day. Her brother was put in jail years ago for the slaughter, and I mean slaughter, of her entire family. But Libby somehow managed to escape. So now, flash forward all these years later, she's kind of investigating the murder. She's like, was my brother really guilty? Like, was he really at fault? Like, I don't know what's going on. It's so good. I mean, like I said, Gillian Flynn, she's a master of her craft. This book is not for the faint of heart, though. Holy cow, it is descriptive. There are some very brutal, like upsetting scenes in this book, but it is one of those thrillers that just, it's good. Like it's a good book, and the writing is good, and like everything about it is just so strong. Such a great thriller. This next book, number 4, is a thriller that I highly recommend if you are in the market for a quick, like bingeable thriller that you won't be able to put down. And that is Sally Hepworth's The Soulmate. I have a full review for this book. I will link it up here for you. I sped through it, like sped through it. This book follows a couple named Gabe and Pippa. They get their dream home, this beautiful home on a cliff. But the downside to this cliff is that people just keep committing suicide off of the cliff. I don't know what the heck, but people are just drawn to this cliff. And there's one woman who Gabe, the husband, is out there like talking to, and all of a sudden she just like falls off the cliff. And then the wife finds out that Gabe actually knows the latest victim. And then there's like all these secrets that start to unravel. It is so good. It is so bingeable. Like if you're going on a vacation or you just like need a quick bingeable, like you want to start a book on a Friday night and like finish it on like Saturday or Sunday, this is the thriller for you. It is so good. I loved it. You guys, thank God I loved this next book, because truthfully, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't, because I was feeling apprehensive about this author. And that is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Thank goodness it made this video, because the 2 latest books from him before this were like major flops for me. This one, so good. 4.5 stars. Absolutely loved it. This book follows a woman named Lenora Hope. Her entire life, she's been known as a killer who hung her sister with a rope in their like family mansion all these years ago. Now she's an elderly woman and she needs a nurse, like a live-in nurse. And the live-in nurse, her name is Kit. She's living with Lenora in this spooky house, again, on top of a cliff. I'm sensing a theme here amongst our thrillers. But anyways, she's living with Lenora here in this secluded setting. Weird shit starts to happen. I think Lenora is like paralyzed or something. Like she She definitely can't move. I don't think she can talk either. But weird stuff starts happening. It is so good. It has an awesome ending. You guys know I'm a sucker for a secluded setting. I absolutely loved it. This book was truthfully just like a joy to read. Coming in at number 2 slot, guys, was my historical fiction that I mentioned. Another book that probably needs no introduction. Kristen Hanna's The Great Alone. I was gifted this by one of my very close friends that I've made through Bookstagram. And again, it has sat here on my TBR shelf for at least over a year. It is so good. This book takes place in Alaska, 1974. A family moves there, a dad, a mom, and their daughter. And the dad just got back from the Vietnam War, and he has like mad PTSD and also just like terrible like anger issues, drinking issues, whatever. One of his friends in the war who died gifted him like his land, essentially. So the dad's like, okay, let's move out there. Like, let's get a fresh start. So the daughter, what's her name again? Cora. No, that's the wife. Lenny is just trying to make the best of her like haphazard life, right? Like she hasn't had a lot of like stability between her parents. They're like always fighting. There's always some shit going on. She makes like some friends here when she moves, and like, ugh, it's this book. It's like a sad book, but the ending is like sad/beautiful. I don't know. It's just, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. This is only my second Kristen Hanna book. The first one was Four Winds, I think. Let me see. The Four Winds, that's what it's called up there. It is that one all the way over there. So good. This was like 10 times even better than that, and I loved The Four Winds. This is amazing. Now, my goal is to read The Nightingale in 2024 because I haven't read it. And a lot of people are like, what the heck? How have you read The Great Alone, but you haven't read The Nightingale? So that is in my 2024 plans. But anyways, I loved this. Beautiful book. I think it's the only book I cried at this year that like literally made me sob. Can anyone guess the numero uno slot? It is a book that I do have a dedicated review to, and I will leave it up here for you. But my number one book of this year, the book that I cannot stop thinking about, is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. It is her best book. It is her best book yet, hands down. And I've read a lot of them. It is a psychological thriller. It follows these two women, Alex and Josie. Alex has this super popular, trendy podcast. Josie has this like opposite of her life, like secluded life. They meet at a restaurant and then they end up like meeting again like a couple days later. And Josie basically pitches herself to Alex. She's like, listen, I think I could be your next like person that your podcast, subject that your podcast is about. And she's like, a lot of shit basically has happened in my life, and like I think it would make for an interesting story. And she like comes on kind of hot to Alex, but Alex is like, okay, like you're unsettling, but like whatever, like she agrees to it. It is so good. Like so freaking good. I listened to this one again, courtesy of Simon & Schuster Audio. So thank you so much, Simon & Schuster. You have given me 3 of my top 10 books. It was amazing. It literally is so good. If you haven't read it yet, you need to read it. Like out of all these books that I mentioned, this is one that will blow you away. And that is it, you guys, for my top 10 books of 2023. I can't wait to see what next year, 2024, has in store for me for reading. I think my Goodreads goal, just being a mom of 2 in early 2024, like that's going to be a huge adjustment for myself. and my family. So I think I'm going to set my Goodreads goal at like 30 books. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, that definitely seems doable, especially because I listen to so many of my books anyways. But yeah, I also want to feature when I'll be able to drink. I want to do some sort of like wine club or like wine subscription that I mention in my videos too. I want to keep grinding through all of Hell's Kitchen. If you're new here, I am a massive fan of Gordon Ramsay. Like, I absolutely love him. He is like the one celebrity that I wish I could meet, but I've watched every single season of MasterChef and I'm like halfway through Hell's Kitchen. I'm going to keep grinding through that. And yeah, just I'm excited for 2024 and just this new stage of my life. All of, you know, the new books that I'm going to read. Like, it's just, I love the closing of a year and like the start of a new one. It just always gets me so excited. But yeah, as always, a massive thank you for watching and subscribing and chatting with me. I love it here on BookTube and I love chatting with you guys. So yeah, I hope everybody had a great 2023. And if you have any big reading plans or just plans for 2024, I'd love to chat with you in the comments below. But as always, thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, you guys.